Good morning. Happy Sunday, guys. I hope that you are doing well. It's a beautiful Sunday out. I hope that you've had a good week. Pray that we get to see each other again fairly soon as things start to open up a little bit. This week I want to look at something that I think is probably more relevant now than any time in my lifetime, but it's a parable that Jesus told to answer a question. And as we talked about last week, parables are stories. They're not necessarily true, but they make a good point. And this one's a popular one. You've probably heard it. It's this parable of the Good Samaritan. And the question Jesus is answering is, who is my neighbor? See, Jesus had been talking to a group of people, and he was asked a question by the Pharisees, and he answered their question, telling them that they should love God and love their neighbors. And one of them asked, well, who's my neighbor? Who do I have to love? And so Jesus told this parable. Most of us know this parable. You can find it in Luke chapter 10, starting in verse 30. And as the parable goes, there was a man who was traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho, two cities, and he was attacked. At that time, bandits hid on the roads. There was not highways like we have them. The people didn't have cars. You pretty much had to walk. And so he was attacked, beaten, and left for dead, and all of his things were stolen. And while he lay there, a priest comes walking by. The priest sees him, and we don't know what he was thinking. It's just part of the story. It was dangerous to stop and help people. That was a trick that thieves would use. Or maybe he didn't want to be ceremonially unclean so that he could do his priestly duties. So he crossed the road and passed the man on the other side without helping him. Then a temple assistant, or maybe a Pharisee or a Sadducee or some kind of religious leader who wasn't a priest, came along. Did the same thing. Crossed the street, walked by on the other side. They saw the man who was hurting, who was in need, and for one reason or another, they didn't do anything. They said, it's too dangerous, or I can't do anything right now, or, well, I can't stop the thieves, so I can't do anything. And then we see at the end, someone comes up, and I like how it's put in the New Living Translation, the one that we read most of the time in children's church. In verse 33, it says, then a despised Samaritan came along, and when he saw the man, he felt compassion for him. A despised Samaritan. At that time, the Israelites, the Jewish people, did not like Samaritans. They hated them. There was a lot of anger and hurt between them, and they did not interact. They would not do business together. They would not even really talk. And they would actually avoid going to Samaria. An Israelite would avoid going to Samaria if he could. Would even walk around the city if he was traveling to the other side. And so this man was despised. He probably wouldn't have been asked for help. No one who has been involved in this story so far would ever even bother to ask this man to stop and help. But he saw this man lying on the ground, and he had compassion for him, and he felt for him. And he stopped to help. And he picks the man up, and he wraps his wounds, and he pours oil in his wounds, which is supposed to help them feel better. And he puts the man on his donkey and starts traveling to the nearest town. And he gets there and he finds a hotel and he checks in and he says, I gotta take care of this man too. And so he goes. The next day he has to leave on his journey. He didn't have time to stay and wait for the man to heal, but he did something interesting. In verse 35 he says, the next day he handed the innkeeper 2 silver coins, telling him, take care of this man. If his bill runs higher, then I'll pay you the next time I'm here. And then he went on his way. He left money to take care of them. And we don't know exactly the value of what he left him, but we know it was quite a bit. It was quite a bit of money, especially to pay for a hotel, that he left the innkeeper to make sure he was taken care of. And this story was to show that, our neighbor is the person that God shows us needs our help. The person that God teaches us or gives us the opportunity to come alongside. With everything going on around us, with the pandemic and everything else, there's lots of people around us who can use our help. And no, maybe we can't stop the thieves. Maybe we can't fix the problem or fix all of the problems, but we can help with something. And Jesus asked the question of the people to whom he was telling the story, and he said, who do you think was this guy's neighbor? Which of these men who walked by this guy left beaten and robbed on the ground, who was his neighbor? And obviously everyone said, well, the Samaritan guy, the one who showed him mercy, that was his neighbor. And Jesus said, okay, there you go. There's your neighbor. And that's how you can be a neighbor. Go and do likewise. And Jesus knew what he was telling them. And they knew what he was telling him. That no matter what people felt about Samaritans, no matter what people felt about other people, that they should show them mercy and show them love. And we know as Christians that we should show mercy because God showed mercy to us. When we talk about our four most important things, God loves me, I have sinned, Jesus died for me, and I need to decide to live for God. That last one is more than just saying a prayer. It's more than just going to church. It's about showing love and kindness and living our life in a way that honors Jesus. And living our life like Jesus lived his life. And yes, sometimes that means helping out the people we don't necessarily like and showing them love and mercy that we don't think they deserve. But Jesus showed us love and mercy that we didn't deserve. And so, as our life starts to change back towards some kind of normal, and as we start to figure out what the world is going to look like next, I encourage you, find your neighbors, help them out, show them mercy. Find ways to be a good neighbor, like that Samaritan was. We love you guys. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Stay tuned, and we love you. Have a great day.